All right, you maggots, listen up. What you see there in the frame is a homemade sanding block. Oh, the author should document and build it step by step. Ha ha ha. Well, anyway, I want to tell you sort of a funny story about Easter. And I'm working in this company, TRW, up in Fairfield, New Jersey. And all around us, we have other companies. It's like a little, I won't say a corporate center, but it was an industrial center. And from time to time at Easter, you would see a goat tied to a car. And you'd get a new worker would come in and say, you know, there's a goat outside tied to a guy's car. And I would say, yeah, it's Friday and this Sunday is Easter. And I said, they're going to have the goat for Easter. You guys look at me like I'm crazy. So, and this has happened more than 1 year. And after a while, I just wouldn't answer. I wouldn't tell the person. Well, anyway, the first two times, one time the guy actually had the goat in the car because it was raining really hard. And the other time the goat was outside, the next year or whatever, it was outside tied to the car. And I told him, I said, yeah, Easter Sunday, people get a live goat, they slaughter it, and they have it for Easter. And the person stares at me like I'm crazy. Well, in one case, the person called the police. And the police, they're used to this stuff. They come down. Before they even came down, they realized that Easter Sunday, it's probably a goat. But what they do is they check the goat, make sure it's got water, and that the guy has a bill of sale. So anyway, it turns out the guy gets the goat for a coworker, brings it into work on a Friday, gives the goat to the guy. Guy takes it home, slaughters it, and they eat it for Easter. So that's not bad enough. I'm sitting there, and the people that don't believe the story, they shake their head at me, and they don't believe it. See, they weren't around other cultures, and you try to explain that to them, but they're very narrow-minded people. So I'm sitting there, and I keep quiet about the goat this time. So one guy says, how come Easter moves around? And I said, yeah, it can be in different months. I said, it's based on the fact that you have to have the spring solstice, the next full moon, and then the Sunday after the full moon is Easter Sunday. And the calendar works backwards. That's how it works. Now, I was an acolyte, which is an altar boy. I had to learn all this stuff. So all I did was say, you have to have the spring solstice. Hope I'm saying the right one. Spring solstice, then a full moon, and right after the full moon, the first Sunday, that's Easter Sunday. So I tell this guy that. And this one guy, real old, looked like he fell out of the 20s. He jumps up and he starts flailing his arms. That's blasphemy. That's blasphemy. And he starts floating across the floor, shaking his arms like a chicken. And he's getting all worked up. I've insulted his religion. I'm like, I'm Episcopal, and you're that other religion. So I won't say the other religion, but it's one's English Catholic and one's Catholic. Okay, so I'm trying to tell the guy, look, maybe you forgot that, maybe, but he's going on and on and on, and he don't want to work. He's walking up and down the aisle. He's all steaming, and the boss is Jewish. And I tell him the story, and he doesn't understand either. So it's not going anywhere good for me. So anyway, it hits me to go look at the dictionary. And I look up Easter, and it explains it right there. It's more of an astronomical time, Easter, but they use that for Easter Sunday. And, well, it's all tied together. So I put the book down on the copier, and I copied a page. And then this guy, Kenny, comes by, and I quickly tell him the story. And then he says, come on over and use our copier. So I went over and used a special copier that can do posters. And I put my copy down on that, and he lines it all up, and he makes a giant 2-foot by 4-foot copy of what Easter is. And I went over and I put it on the guy's bench. And the guy got even steamed more. And then he realized how stupid he was. And, what I should have done was I should have started flailing my arms like a chicken, going up and down the aisles, Yeah, I've been disrespected or something like that, you know. But somebody said, how come Easter moves around? And that's because the calendar works backwards. In other words, they figure out what day Easter is, and then all the other holidays, the saints and saint days and stuff, work off that. See, I told you uh, I was raised Episcopal. I was an altar boy, and they teach you all this stuff. And then you have Sunday school, and then I also joined Bible school. Uh, my church allowed me to go to Bible school. Some of the other churches, they wouldn't let you go to any other religious thing outside of your own church. But being Episcopal, you can do those kinds of things. Well, anyway, that's my Easter story. But the look on the people you face when you say that guy's taking that goat home and he's going to eat it for Easter, and they're like, no, no, like, yeah, yeah, and you're trying to not be disrespect the guy, but the guy, I said, if you go out there and talk to him, because he comes out like every break and checks on the goat, go talk to the guy, you know. And I was very, geez, I think my parents would tell me these stories about there would be an Easter Sunday and they couldn't find the goat. And I grew up in a different community than this other person grew up in. And in another community, if you had a goat, they would immediately call animal services, animal care, whatever, and you couldn't have the goat on your property, and that's the way it is in certain parts of New Jersey. Where other parts, you can have farm animals, and some locations you can have certain animals as a pet, but just one, and you can't have chickens because chickens can carry disease. But anyway, that's my Easter story. And when you work with people, you know, and what happened was right outside right now, it feels like Easter Sunday. The sun is out, the wind from yesterday is gone, and there's people out walking before and after they go to church, and it just has a feel of Sunday. And I start thinking about having somebody scream blasphemy at me and all kinds of stuff, and when somebody goes off like that, you can't stop them. You can't reason with them. It was pretty funny. But the guy, he retired from the Navy. He retired from the post office. And one day I just happened to say to him, I said, you know, all that extra money that's coming in is putting you in a higher tax bracket. I said, you might want to look into retiring. And I don't know. I just said to him, you know, and he went home and told his wife what I told her. She called up an accountant, and they basically said, your husband, does he like his job? And he didn't. So basically, he'd be better off and the guy did. He come back into work and he announced he was retiring. But it was pretty funny stuff. Oh, and he was 77 years old, and he was still working and making everybody miserable, you know. But just picture this old fart, and I'm still not even that old, and he's flailing his arms and he's going up and down the aisles like, yeah, like I just told him I got his daughter pregnant type of thing. That's how upset he was over it's blasphemy. You can't say that. And there were other people going along with him, the same religion as him, that don't know their own religion. It was pretty funny stuff. But look up Easter if you don't believe me. And they use astronomical markers for religion, and Easter's one of them. And the minister, I can tell you, is Father Appleton. Yeah, it was Father Appleton, the minister that taught me this stuff. When you're going to be confirmed, you have to go to classes, and basically explained all this stuff. And Appleton actually jumped off a bridge and killed himself in New York. All right, I think that's all right. I think that's it. All right, that's it.